Hello, friends! Welcome back to the Cozy Representative Enterprise. It is me. So today we're going to be doing a little bit more MySpace exploration. For full transparency, I am working on another My Chemical Romance video for you guys, which I'm very excited about. I'm trying to make it as awesome as possible, though, so it's taken a little bit longer than maybe plans to put it together. I'm putting in the elbow grease, you know what I'm saying? And so I figure in the meantime, why not explore some more MySpace pages? I've been enjoying doing this. It's fun. So yeah, why not? As you can tell by the title, today we're going to be doing some scene metalcore bands MySpace pages. I'm assuming if you watch this channel, you probably have some understanding of what scene metalcore is. This was the era of metalcore that existed in, the late 2000s, 2008, 2009, 2010. That's about the era that I look at for these MySpace pages, and this was the time, I think the wise Finn McKenty once called this era boy bands with breakdowns, which I would agree with. The metalcore genre, which in its purest form is a combination of metal and hardcore, was pioneered in the musical underground in the 90s with OG bands such as Earth Crisis, Marauder, Shai Hulud, and Converge, plus many others making an original mark. The genre of metalcore really exploded into mainstream success in the early to mid-2000s with bands like Killswitch Engage, As I Lay Dying, Avenged Sevenfold, Atreyu, All That Remains, and Bleeding Through, as well as many others, pushing the envelope of the genre and really putting it on the map, as well as selling hundreds of thousands of records, charting on Billboard, and playing massive festivals and whatnot. This was really the era of the metalcore explosion, as it were. However, also in the mid-2000s, you had the subgenre emo also come to prominence in the mainstream with eyeliner, mallcore-esque bands such as Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance and Taking Back Sunday, introducing emo to the masses. By 2006 and 2007, the neon era evolved out of emo with bright and colorful, made-for-the-teenage market emo pop acts like Boys Like Girls, All Time Low, Forever the Sickest Kids, and The Main carrying the torch. You see, the metalcore explosion of the mid-2000s was, from this humble YouTuber's perspective, mostly consisting of what I would call dude bands. Although metalcore was now huge and not just a niche underground thing like it was in the 90s, the bands and most of the fans consisted of, like, your weird, stony older brother who works at the gas station, drinks NOS energy drinks, has either a goatee or a chin strap facial hair, has little to no female friends or female interaction, and struggles with a drinking problem, guzzling Colt 45s by the dozen. The emo, and consequently the neon movement, was quite the opposite. This music was geared towards and primarily consumed by teenage girls, skinny, out-of-place young emo kids with flippy hair, and feminine dudes who wore skinny jeans and straightened their hair. Come the MySpace era, or, whatever, the scene era, whatever you want to call it, of 2007, 2008 or so, bands like Bring Me the Horizon, Attack Attack, and Asking Alexandria successfully fused these two genre crazes together, and all of a sudden, metalcore wasn't just for your weird, stony older brother anymore. Metalcore bands now had flippy emo hair, neon, colorful t-shirts, synthesizers, and suddenly your 13-year-old little sister knew about Hellfest and Pig Squeals. Scene metalcore was born. And, obviously this era of metalcore and all that, right smack dab at the peak of MySpace, so it was very MySpace driven. So without further ado, we're going to look at some of these bands' freaking MySpace pages and see what's up. I'm going to do Attack Attack and Asking Alexandria. Those are some bands I've covered in the past. I'm also going to look at the pages of, probably going to do with Mice and Men. I want to see what their page was like. Maybe some Devil Wears Prada. Probably going to do some I Set My Friends on Fire. maybe a little Bless the Fall. You know, there's so much stuff to choose from, so let's get into it, shall we? Hey friends, real quick before we get to it, I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to today's sponsor, Ride or Die Clothing. Ride or Die Clothing is a great clothing line out of California. They're good friends of mine, making quality t-shirts, hoodies, tote bags, and more. Very reminiscent of the old school 2000s MySpace and Warped Tour scene, which I cover here on this channel, with a modern and original twist to it as well. The shirts are great quality, super stylish. In all seriousness, I wear them on the regular and I love them. That's no joke. We even did some collab shirts together. There's a couple cozy representative shirts up on the Ride or Die site as well, which are very, very awesome. If you want to buy some Ride or Die merch, head on over to rideordieclothing.net to place your order today. You can also follow them on Instagram at Ride or Die Brands or on Twitter at Ride or Die Brands to stay in the loop. Thank you very much to Ride or Die Clothing, and with that, onwards to the Scene, Metalcore, MySpace pages. Let's go. All right, here we are. So we got Attack Attack's freaking MySpace. This is July 2008, so this was before their first album, Someday Came Suddenly, was even out. And as you can see by their header, they were in the studio. So they were in the studio with Mr. Joey Sturgis recording Someday Came Suddenly, which I feel like was pretty much, you know, that album kind of spearheaded this whole MySpace, you know, scene kid wave of metalcore, really, you know what I mean? It's the album that started crabcore. That's where that came from, this album, you know? It was the album that put freaking auto-tune and techno beats, you know, to the forefront of metalcore, which a lot of people were mad at the time, but the kids loved it. It's like that Broken Side album. I'm not a fan, but the kids like it, you know? Get with the times, people. Get with the times, elitists in 2008. Attack Attack is here, and their MySpace is apparently home of the greatest fans on Earth, which is very cute. See, they already had 908,000 profile views at this point, so MySpace, you know, popping already, popping off. Here we got, as always, the classic freaking member lineup, giant photos on the side of the page so you can get to know everybody. There's a fresh, young, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed young Austin Carlisle there, looking great with his V-neck there. I always wondered how this dude could afford all these tattoos. As you can see, he's got some chest action going on here, a nice sleeve. How could he afford that? You know what I mean? I'm 25. You know, freaking, you know, I'm 25 and I've only been able to afford, I have like a couple on my arm and like a few other on my body, and that's it. That's all I've ever been able to afford. So how you doing this, Austin? Got some rich parents, bro? All right, we got Johnny Frank here. Johnny was the neon man in this band. As you can see, he was a little bit more, all these bands looked like Forever the Sickest Kids. Like, that was the funny thing about this era of metalcore, is like, these heavy bands went from looking like dudes in like baggy, you know, boot-cut blue jeans with like short hair. Like, they used to just look like working class men. But now it's like, you know, this guy could have easily been in freaking, like I said, the Maine or Forever the Sickest Kids. It was like the neon look was invading, you know, the metalcore genre, which had been so, you know, aside from bands like 18 Visions or whatever, who were kind of bringing in the makeup a little bit, you know, it had been mostly like a bro kind of genre, you know, so now it's like all these girly looking dudes. Andrew Whiting, he looks like your average metalhead, you know? I guess his hair is a little bit more swoopy. It's not like a middle part. But this dude, I don't know, kind of reminds me of like Otto from The Simpsons or something. Got John Holgata. Hell yeah. Start Clothing was, you know, this was the clothing line that repped pretty much all these bands. All these bands had sponsorships with Start Clothing. We'll probably see that as we look at some of these other pages, as they were all rocking Start, which was spelled S-T Heart, And I'm pretty sure that's pronounced start, you know, but with heart in there, because peace and love was still prevalent in the MySpace days, even in the metalcore world. Oh man, we got our hero Caleb Shomo here. Yes, he is now the singer of gigantic rock band Beartooth, but here he is, 14 years old. He was kind of like the Sonny Moore of Attack Attack, you know, kind of the Skrillex. Like, he was kind of just the young little dude who ended up being, you know, probably the biggest star of the band, but here he is as an awkward little kid, you know, just as a synth player. Wetzel, the homie. See, now Wetzel's got even, like, that's kind of like an indie rock looking kind of shirt. I mean, it is colorful and neon and dinosaur in MySpace, but that's a little bit more like, reminds me of one of those bands like, I don't know, like Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah or something, you know, or like one of those like 2008 indie rock bands. All right, Artery Foundation. Eric Rushing, I know that name, that guy, yeah, Artery Foundation. You'll find for a lot of these bands too, most of them were on Rise Records, as Attack Attack were as well, which is why this genre a lot of times was called Risecore, and Artery Foundation was the management that most of these bands were under too. I'm sure we'll see that as a what do you call it, a pattern as we look at some more of these pages. So yeah, pretty basic, no real fancy layout going on here. See with their bio. We are just 6 guys doing what we love. We love making music and have a blast doing it together. This is all of our dreams and passions rolled into one thing. This band is a family, a group of best friends, and a group of brothers. Beautiful guys, making me choke up right now. In this, to give glory where it's due, we play and live for the #1 person in all of our lives. Sounds like Jesus. I'm not surprised. Once again, Christian metalcore was also very big. I think early Attack Attack was, you know, there was a lot of Jesus in the lyrical content of Someday Came Suddenly. Moshing for Christ, as it were. Okay, we got a real simple banner here. Once again, if you've, you know, watched my other MySpace videos, these banners where you had this little code here you could copy and paste and then put into your MySpace editor thing, and this would Attack Attack logo would show up on your page. Pretty cool. Got some clothing lines, sponsorships. Got this old school t-shirt that you could buy. Wow, does anybody watching this video have this shirt? I vaguely remember this design. I feel like I saw that back in the day somewhere. Your music makes me want to wet my panties, but in a good way. Okay, that's good. What would be in a bad way of that, though? I'm assuming a good way is in a sexual way, and a bad way would probably be just like pissing your pants, right? That's what I'm assuming. Can you clarify for are you out there, Sammy? Who are you, Sammy? If anyone knows Sammy, forward this video to them. I want to know. All right, so here, obviously, we got freaking Asking Alexandria. This is August of 2009. So this is like right before Stand Up and Scream came out. If my scene knowledge is correct, I want to say that album came out in like September of 2009. This is like a month before that. Man, look at freaking Danny Warsnop, man. It astounds me that this guy... I mean, y'all know what he looks like now, right? It's crazy that that guy used to be this. It's crazy that they all used to be this, man. What a strange history that this band has had. But yeah, so Asking, they were obviously a little bit more... had a little bit more of a pop-in MySpace layout than the Attack Attack one that we just looked at. You know, this is pretty fresh right here. Really going above and beyond. These dudes in the back look so Euro. Like, they look so European, you know what I mean? Hey, what's up, Ben Bruce? Looking cute as always. Alright, yeah, this fucking MySpace layout is poppin'. They were a fresh band, man. Super fresh. Yeah, look at that. No words. I mean, come on. Come on, man. Oh, Cameron Little, wow. Got acne on his cheeks, you know, real teenage. This dude's got an Attack Attack shirt on. Drop Dead shirt on, that old school. Wow, yeah, this was MySpace metalcore at its finest. Let's see, you got tour dates here. Okay, they were already hitting the road on tour and shit with Alesana and The Bled, Enter Shikari and Broadway. That's a lineup. All right, this is pretty fresh. We got the online merch store, some cool, colorful logos going on. Got that famous Get On Your Knees shirt. These bands were definitely very famous for weird, like, sexual, kind of, misogynistic, like, mosh calls that would also translate into giant impact font slogans on t-shirts. Get on your knees, was Asking Alexandria's contribution to the weird MySpace metalcore shirt design phenomenon that was going on. What's up with this shirt model? He's got like one black sleeve here, but it's not on the other sleeve. What's up? That's weird. Yeah, these are some sick shirt designs. Anyone watching this video got these, any of these shirts? Anyone still have any of these? All right, yeah, see, this MySpace is popping. Okay, again, we got the Artery Foundation, and they were on Sumerian. Yeah, Asking Alexandria, they weren't on Rise Records. They very easily could have been on Rise Records, but yeah, they were a Sumerian band. But yeah, we got the Artery Foundation again, who Attack Attack were also on. And here's Attack Attack. All right, we got some show flyers. This is the Steel City Music Festival 2009. Let's see, Attack Attack headlining. Wow. So we got Asking Alexandria. Look at that old, like, bonk-ass, primitive Asking Alexandria logo. An old bunk-ass primitive We Came as Romans logo. Dr. Acula. Wow, remember Dr. Acula? They were like kind of Attila-esque from what I remember. They were like a party-core, party metal band. And then Let's Get It. Let's Get It. I never really listened to Let's Get It very much, but they were a band that I believe were produced by Joey Sturgis, who was like the guy who produced Attack Attack and Asking Alexandria and Attila and all these bands. But they were kind of like, I think they were kind of more of a pop punk band, or maybe even more of like a straight dance rock kind of electro band. So they were kind of like in this wave, but they were more poppy. All right. Oh, this is quite a lineup. Festivus. I feel like I've seen this before. I feel like this flyer has showed up in one of my videos previously. Got Alesana, Attack Attack. Alesana, or Alesana, I think, is technically how you pronounce it. They were, like, huge at the time. It's funny how, like, all these bands, like Asking and We Came as Romans and Attack Attack and even Craig Owens solo, like The Bled, like, all this stuff, all these bands used to open for Alesana, and, by, like, 2011 or so, Alesana kind of, I don't know, what happened to them? They kind of lost, like, they were, like, such a headliner in, like, 08, 09, but they kind of, all these bands, like Attack Attack and Asking Alexandria, surpassed them pretty quickly, Again, another Alesana headliner here, with Asking and, wow, The Bled and Broadway. Enter Shikari. Hailing from the United Kingdom, Asking Alexandria have been breaking out of the underground music scene with a sound that is both heavy and hard-hitting, yet catchy and melodic. 2009 will see the boys releasing their debut album, touring relentlessly and making their mark on the hardcore scene with fists pumping. Join the party, Asking Alexandria. All right, boys, I will. Getting me stoked. Got the boys, nice little graphic, very cool. I feel like the A in the Asking Alexandria logo is like thinner here than it was like on the album cover. Am I tripping, or is that some real shit? Whoever their graphic designer was made that A a little bit beefier for once Stand Up and Scream came out. Noodle Poo says says death. You guys are pretty sick, no lie. Like if the Devil Wears Prada and Bring Me the Horizon had sex, you would be the Offspring. I agree with that. That's pretty much exactly how I'd describe them at the time. You're right on point, Noodle Poo. Where's Noodle Poo at? If Noodle Poo is watching this video, leave a comment, please. Identify yourself. All right, let's get some freaking of Mice and Men rocking. All right, so we got the legendary of Mice and Men here. Pretty freaking cool. I used to listen to this band quite a bit in high school. I was a fan. As y'all probably know, this was Austin Carlisle's freaking band that he started after he got kicked out of Attack Attack, after they did their first album with him. And this screenshot of their page was, so this, what we're looking at right now, this is from summer of 2009. So this is right when they first started. This was before their first album even came out. You know, if my memory serves me right, I think that album didn't come out until like early 2010 or so. So this is like right when they first started. They were probably about to record that first record. And as you can see, the you know, Shaylee Bourget, who was their clean vocalist dude, wasn't even here yet. We got this fool. Not sure who this guy is, but he was, I guess, you know, the guy before him. I used to really like Shaylee Bourget's clean vocals. You know, he was a pretty hot ticket in the scene at the time. His voice, you know, was very nice, very captivating. We got this fool, their original bass player, Jackson Hall, up in here. He was their old bass player for the first album. We got Tino. Fucking Tino. He used to play drums in the band Lower Definition before joining of Mice and Men, who were a fucking incredible band. If y'all haven't heard Lower Definition, you gotta check out the album, The Greatest of All Lost Arts. In my opinion, one of the best post-hardcore, metalcore, whatever albums from that era. A truly hidden gem. I think, you know, they weren't very big at the time, but they've definitely gotten a lot more known after the fact in recent years. A lot of people have gone back to check out Lower Definition. But yeah, that was Tino's old band, and a nice hype, very hype picture here. He's pouring the gasoline. And yeah, for a new band, again, a very spiffy MySpace layout here, very professional looking. Yes, of course, we got the member list. Nice picture of Austin there. Jackson Hall. Valentino, looking fresh. John Kintz. Okay, they had John Kintz at first. Guitar and vocals. Wonder what happened to him. Phil Manansala. Of Mice and Men, here's their biography here. Was founded by Austin Carlisle, the original vocalist of Attack Attack, and bassist Jackson Hall, an import from Auckland, New Zealand. The two recorded the demo 7,000 Miles for What with close friends at Paper Tiger Studios in Columbus, Ohio. The two searched for other members for about a month when they came across Tino Arteaga, I think that's pronounced, drummer of Lower Definition, yup, and Phil Manansala, touring guitarist for Ecstatic Lullaby, pretty cool. Austin and Jackson moved to Southern California to join up with the two and began writing. After searching for weeks, Of Mice and Men brought John Kintz, guitar player for Odd Project, not sure what that is, to the team. Of Mice and Men has since been writing and will head into the studio July 14th with Joey Sturgis to record their debut full-length album, which will be in stores and online everywhere. Stay tuned for tour dates and more news. Very cool. Yeah, so this is at the very beginning. They hadn't even started recording that first album yet. We got some fresh shirts here. Very cool. Wow, they were professional right out of the gate. I like some of those designs. Some cool banners here. Wicked hype. Yeah, we got their, oh wow, look at, so here's their top friends. Again, Rise Records and Artery Foundation. Austin Carlisle's profile here. Look at that picture of him, looking all deep and fucking, you know, intense. Jackson, you dig? All right, you know what time it is. I feel like we had, you know, I got to do some I Set My Friends on Fire, right? One of the most epic bands from this time. You know, they were kind of jokey, kind of goofy, zany, spastic metalcore, but they genuinely had some, like, great music, you know, very heavy, very fun. They also got a lot of hate at the time, which, you know, is unfortunate because, you know, I think nowadays they're kind of looked back on as this just very special band, you know. I fucking love I Set My Friends on Fire. So this is summer of 2009. I think they were on Warped Tour at this time. Their album was out, and we got the classic duo. We got this guy, Matt, I believe his name is, and he's still in the band, but we also got Nabil, who was, you know, they were like an epic duo at the time, and Nabil left the band after the first album, and, you know, as the story goes, I feel like Nabil was kind of the, at least from what I understand, kind of the creative mastermind behind the music of I Set My Friends on Fire, and then Matt was kind of the zany frontman guy. So when Nabil left, you know, it was kind of like when Ryan Ross left Panic at the Disco, you know what I mean? It was like, man, it's like the heart and soul is gone or something. And that's no disrespect to Matt, who's still doing I Set My Friends on Fire to this day, but, you know, a very, you know, heartbreaking thing when they split up. So here we got the classic I Set My Friends on Fire lineup, cool MySpace, you know, layout going on with kind of artwork from the album. You can't spell slaughter without laughter. There it is. Debut album available now. Very cool. Very fun record, you know. See, we got a long, like, bio here. The band's debut album, You Can't Spell Slaughter Without Laughter, melds the band's unique sense of humor. As evidence, simply read the song titles and lyrics with an onslaught of thrash, angular guitar riffs, pulsing dance beats, brutal breakdowns, sassy screams, and lush melodic choruses. Fuck yeah. Quote, our album is very eclectic and we feel that it will give people something completely new, explains Nabil. It has all kinds of styles woven in. The album is like a typical relationship gone wrong, spanning emotions that include joy, uncertainty, anger, hate, confusion, alienation, and everything in between. I Set My Friends on Fire ambushed listeners from the get-go with the tumultuous track, Beauty is in the Eyes of the Beer Holder, which pairs metal riffs and hardcore breakdowns with melodic sing-along choruses, a virtual workout, physically and orally. The album continues its relentless electro grind fest. Fuck yeah, I love that description. With tracks like Ravenous Rhinos, What the Fuck Would Jesus Do, and ASL, which will have everyone spastically convulsing towards the dance floor. Quote, fans will find the tracks they've come to know us for, including Crank Dat, their classic Soulja Boy cover, their heavy, screamy Soulja Boy cover, and ASL, but the album has many new tracks which continue the energy and songwriting that fans come to know us for, says Nabil. There are also more mellow tracks, including the Interlude, which is a very chilled-out instrumental break from the intensity of the rest of the album. All these MySpace heavy bands, interludes were really big at the time, like electro dance interludes. Attack Attack had one on their first record. Asking Alexandria had one on their first record. A lot of bands had intro tracks too that would be like also some kind of you know, electro dance thing going on. Wow, yeah, okay. Members list here. There's Matt. Beautiful hair on this guy. Always loved his hair. Yeah, so Matt, yeah, vocals and lyrics, and then Nabil basically did everything else at first. Instruments, programming, recording. Yeah, no one else at this point, just those two. Again, look, Alesana headlining a tour. Big band at the time, Alesana were. Drop Dead Gorgeous, Fear Before, I Set My Friends on Fire, and Fall from Grace. Oh, this is classic. We got ringtones. I think I mentioned this and, you know, talked about this in one of my other MySpace videos. But yeah, this was a big thing at the time. You could, yeah, text Crank That to 71777 to get a Crank That ringtone. You can get a Ravenous Rhinos ringtone, a Nuns ringtone. Very cool. Yeah, ringtones were like a thing at the time. Yeah, so real quick, I did want to do I See Stars for a second. I See Stars were definitely, well, this is August of 2009, so I think that their first album had just come out. I See Stars were a bit poppier than a lot of the other bands, but they definitely had breakdowns and screaming. I think this guy was the screamer at the time. Yeah, I loved I See Stars, and still do. Their first album, 3D, fucking classic, man. That's a great band. I've been meaning to do an I See Stars video for a while. I need to get on that. But they really did this style of sort of poppy, synthy metalcore really, really well, I felt like. And they were super young, also, from what I know. They were, like, fresh out of high school. Okay, again, we got, yeah, the list of members. Chris Moore. Where's Chris Moore at these days, man? He was cool. He was the screamer of this band for a little bit. Yeah, wow, look at these young men. Start Clothing, once again, reppin'. His hair is, my god. You can't even see his eyes. Little Cutie Pie here on the drums. Yeah, pretty standard MySpace here. They were on tour with A Day to Remember in Parkway Drive. That's pretty big. Yeah, so they were popping off, man. I See Stars. Got their merch here. Very nice. Okay, again with the the weird sexual mosh calls translated into impact font t-shirts. I see stars, she screams my name really big. I wouldn't wear a shirt that says she screams my name in huge letters on it. I mean, that's, it's kind of a little on the nose, don't you think? I don't know. She doesn't always scream my name, you know what I mean? That's not necessarily something that I want to announce to everybody, but okay, I guess in 2009 we were, we got another variant of the She Screams My Name here in white. Other than those, I mean, I like these designs a lot. This microphone here, these TVs, that was all very, again, like there was such a crossover with like the neon sort of pop punk bands, like, like aesthetic with the metalcore stuff that was going on. Again, I mean, Icy Stars weren't really like just a metalcore band. They were obviously a very poppier, on the very poppy side of scene metalcore. But these shirts, these could be like the Somerset shirts. You know what I mean? These could be Forever the Sickest Kid shirts. But Icy Stars happen to have some screaming and breakdowns in it. I love this aesthetic though, with especially with the TVs and the microphone. Those are really cool. All right, this is summer of '09. Alesana, who I've always called Alesana, but I've been corrected recently that it's actually Alesana. Oh man, I hope this loads properly. Yeah, the problem with the Wayback Machine is not everything loads correctly. I wish we could see this full picture. Yeah, I remember this album, On Frail Wings of Vanity and Wax. Very, very fitting album name of the time. Reminds me of Wires and the Concept of Breathing by A Skylit Drive. Lots of long names that you can't, On Frail Wings of Vanity and Wax. What does that mean? You know what I mean? Long names that are, artistic and confusing. Yep. The neon shirts. Yeah, man. All right, so I'm going to do one more of these, and then I'm going to get out of y'all's hair. Again, I'll probably do a part 2 of this in the future, because there were so many of these bands. But the last one I'm going to do, so we're in May of '07 right now, so this is old school compared to everything else we just covered. I'm going to do some OG Bless the Fall MySpace page right now. Craig Mabbitt era, first album, Bless the Fall. Before Craig Mabbitt, joined Escape the Fate and all that, he was in Bless the Fall. This is before The Word Alive, too. And yeah, so this is right before fucking the first Bless the Fall album came out, His Last Walk. That album is dope. I've always liked that first Bless the Fall album. I never really could get into anything that they did after this album personally. I've heard it before. It's very hype and they're good at what they do. But for some reason, I don't know. Even though this first album, the production on it is really bad and it is very primitive, there's something I like. I like metalcore that's more raw and primitive and kind of bad production. For some reason, I like that style of metalcore more than the later metalcore stuff or more recent stuff that's more produced and really put together. I don't know. I like it when it's more raw and more just the more old school kind of stuff. So this first Bless the Fall album has always been really appealing to me. And yeah, so we got the His Last Walk kind of album art here in stores, April '07, featuring bonus track and new enhanced tour footage appearing on the entire 2007 Vans Warped Tour. And yeah, their MySpace page, pretty dark, got some dark clouds going on. All right, so this was even more primitive. So this was older MySpace, the ones we just did, those are all 2009, 2010. And as you could see from all those pages, bands pretty much had a formula of how they would put their MySpace together. As we kind of just saw with the Icy Stars one and the Alesana one, it was there were literal graphic designers who were paid just to pump out the same kind of template for MySpace profiles at the time, you know what I mean? So it all got kind of formulaic, but this was a little bit before that, And as you can see, like we still did have the band members' faces here and shit, but it was a little bit more primitive here. You know what I mean? It was a little bit more less, a less polished MySpace page look. You know what I mean? Back here in 2007, and of course we got a young Craig Mabbitt. Craigifer is what they were calling him here on the page. Pretty cool. Got these other guys. I like Matt's hair here. Nice hair on him. Got Eric and Jared. You know, as most of these bands, it all kind of looks like the same dude, one after another. Let's see, we got tour dates with Protest the Hero and All That Remains. Nice. Got some Four-Letter Lie in here. Yeah, they were on Science Records, which I don't know who else was on Science Records, but that was, from what I know, that's kind of like, was kind of like Ferret. You know, Ferret was a big label for metalcore bands at the time. Kind of before Rise Records came in the picture and swooped up all those bands, and Sumerian as well. It was like Science Records and Ferret Records, you know, had all of these kind of heavy metalcore, post-hardcore bands. Wow. Click here to order Bless the Fall merch. Got the album, got a cool, that's a very, like, you can barely see it, but that's a very 06, 07 looking shirt design. There they are. Wow, great hair on these guys. Craig, looking fantastic. Wow. You know what? Just for shits, I'm going to do one more. Let's do the Devil Wears Prada, right? Again, I never actually really got into the Devil Wears Prada very much either. I tried back in the day, but for some reason they never really did it for me. I know that's like very unpopular opinion because Devil Wears Prada are like super beloved. A lot of people, you know, fucking love that band. It's not that I dislike them. I just could never really get into them. But they were a huge part of this wave. So I guess to cap this video off, let's go to Devil Wears Prada real quick. See what they were up to on MySpace. Here we go. All right, so we got this cool Plagues fucking. I like this graphic here with the, what bug is that? A dragonfly. Hardcore metal Christian, more Christianity. Once again, moshing for Christ. Let's see, tour dates with Chiodos. That's pretty legendary, you know, going to see Chiodos and fucking Prada in October of 07. Chiodos, Emery, and Scary Kids Scaring Kids. Wow. I love all these old fucking merch designs, you know, like these shirts are badass. These hoodies. I feel like all the hoodies from this era were like, they didn't fit right, you know? Do y'all remember that from back in the day? Like, the sleeves would always be like too short. They would come up to like here on your wrist and they'd be really puffy. Like you can see it in this, you know? And they would also like ride up on your like midsection too. Like they would cut off like right at your belly button. And they would also be really baggy in like the middle, but then they would like shrink in where your belly button is. Like this is one of those old shitty hoodies, but the design is cool. And hoodies also always had to have a a zip up. I feel like nowadays pullover hoodies are more the thing. Pre-order our new record Plagues at Smart Punk, Interpunk. You know, Smart Punk and Interpunk were pretty essential hubs for flipping fucking CDs at the time. Very cool. Very, very, very cool. Yeah, my favorite thing about this is these merch designs. I like these. I like these a lot. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in. That concludes yet another episode of the Cozy Representative 2000's MySpace Wayback Machine exploration. Thank you all for taking this journey with me. And as always, big thank you and shout out to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. If you want to see some bonus content, if you want me to do a video review of your band, or if you simply just want to support the channel even further, any little bit goes a long way. And I sincerely thank everybody so much who supports me on there. And I also want to thank you for tuning in to today's video. I will see you right here next time on The Cozy Representative. Let me know if there's any other cool old internet shit you want me to explore, or any videos at all you want to see from me. I am always open to suggestions, but I also always am working on tons of shit. So, like I said, I've got another My Chemical Romance video coming up, which I'm very excited about, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I hope you guys are having an awesome February. Peace and love. Rock on. HTML. Add my banner to your page. Pick for pick. Peace and love. I love you all. Have a good night. It's been the Cozy Representative. Goodbye.